Sox baseball on CSN is presented by State Farm, and we're coming to you from Globe Life Park in beautiful Arlington, Texas, where tonight CSN Chicago presents White Sox baseball as Jose Abreu and the White Sox as they get set to take on Jeff Bannister's red-hot Texas Rangers. Hi, everybody, and welcome. I'm Ken Harrelson with Steve Stone as we get set to bring you Game 2 of this four-game series. If you missed the one last night, you didn't miss anything. They won it 9-8. We walked 9 guys in that game, and 4 of them scored. So, you know, when you walk 9 guys in a game, Steve, you're supposed to get beat. But on the other side of that page, there were a couple of hot hitters in that game last evening.
There certainly are, and one of the guys for our ball club is leading the way is Jose Abreu, who's hitting .294. He's creeping up on 30 home runs, 100 driven in, and here was a blast. And Jose's been doing that quite a bit lately. Leading the way for the Rangers is Nomar Mazara, who drove in 5 last night. He's driven in 82 runs. He's got 16 homers. He's been red hot recently. And this is a guy that you've got to get out to hold down this Ranger team, which has been pretty good offensively. So the last 6 for Jose, hitting .440. There you see the rest of the numbers. The last 4 for Mazara. He's hitting close to 500, a little bit over actually, with a couple of home runs and 10 driven in. So this is a couple of hot hitters, and hopefully tonight the pitching staff from James Shields will be able to hold down Mazara.
Well, last night we had Ronaldo Lopez out there, a youngster who had to leave with soreness in his right side. But we got a veteran out there, as he just mentioned, Shields tonight, and another veteran for them.
There is no doubt that this is going to be a good pitching matchup, and we'll see James Shields go to the mound off a pretty good performance against Kansas City. This is a tough part for a right-hander to pitch in, because if you allow the left-handers to pull the ball, they're probably going to hit some home runs, and James has had his problems keeping the ball in the park. However, after a shaky start last time, he came back and threw the ball very well, and Andrew Kashner goes to the mound for the Rangers. He used to throw a whole lot harder than he does now. Now he's a sinker baller. Gets lots of ground balls, doesn't strike out a whole lot of people, has a very good straight change and a curveball to go with it. So there you see James Shields, his last time out. And the last 3 for Kashner have been terrific. The ERA at 180. This is one of the guys they're going to count on to try to get them there to win the division or get into the playoffs as a wild card. The division, probably that ship has sailed, but the wild card, a lot of teams in it.
All right. Game 2 of this four-game set, so sit back, relax, and strap it down. White Sox baseball coming your way.
White Sox baseball on CSN Chicago is brought to you in part by Toyota. The national clearance event is going on now. Toyota, let's go places. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois, through it all. By Lexus, who encourages you to experience amazing. And by Miller Lite, the original light beer. Miller Lite, hold true.
Welcome back to Globe Life Park. It's a beautiful day in Arlington, Texas, as our Sox take on the Rangers in the second of a 4-game series. And last night, there was an interesting occurrence on the mound, and it revolves around Ronaldo Lopez and Jose Abreu. You see Hermie and Rick walk off, and Jose then has a conversation with Ronaldo, who said that he was having some soreness in his right side. And Jose decided, look, this guy is too young and too valuable. Come on back out. Let's take a look at this and maybe revisit the idea of leaving him in the game. And Jose is shaking his head and said, nope, son, you need to leave, because we cannot risk any further injury. And that's exactly what happened. And today, Ricky Renteria talked about the leadership of Jose Abreu and how he views what Jose did last night.
The leadership that he's always had, I think maybe he's expressing it a little bit more. Being more open with his teammates, being able to talk to his teammate right in that moment and saying, hey, listen, you might want to say something, because this isn't necessarily where you want to be at this particular point. You don't want to get hurt.
Well, the Rangers have taken the field. There you see a man who was destined to be a leader and will be a leader of this team. It's just a matter of time till he really takes control of it. Time now for the White Sox lineup, brought to you by the Webb Auto Group. For the best lineup of Chevys, Fords, Mitsubishis, Genesis, and Hyundais at the best price, go to webcars.com. And there is a starting lineup. Leury Garcia, the former Ranger, leading it off. Yoan Moncada in the 2 spot. Then it's Jose Abreu, who's had 44 multi-hit games this year. Then Delmonico, Sanchez, Narvaez. The bottom third being Anderson, Hansen, and Adam Engel playing center field and hitting 9th. The defense, and now they're going to line up behind Andrew Kashner. Joey Gallo in left field. We saw him at first base last night with Delino DeShields and Nomar Mazara in the outfield. Adrian Beltre in his 5 Gold Gloves. Stationed at third, it's Andrus, Odor, and Napoli around the infield, with Robinson Chirinos just back from a couple of days off. He's behind the plate, and our Lexus Experience amazing starting pitcher is the former Cub, Andrew Kashner, who was traded in a deal that really worked well for the Cubs, because they got Anthony Rizzo, and Kashner went to San Diego. There you look, his 20th start, he's 7-9 with a fine ERA of 3.32. Looking at a guy with a less than overpowering fastball. He throws a lot of ground balls. He's a sinker baller with a very good overhand curve and a better changeup. The umpires for the game tonight: Will Little's got the plate. Tim Timmons is at first. James Hoy is at second, and the crew chief, Mark Wegner, is at third. So what a great night for baseball. Warm, just a touch of humidity in the air. They're throwing the ball around the infield, which means we are ready to kick it off here in Arlington, Texas. And as they throw a ball around the infield and Leury steps up, it's time for me to turn it over to my play-by-play partner, Ken Harrelson.
All right, Stoney, thank you. And once again, good evening, everyone, and welcome to White Sox baseball right here on CSN Chicago. Game 2 of this 4-game set. And before we show you our picks to click, you at home select yours. Indeed, it is just a beautiful evening here in the Lone Star State. So here is Leury hitting at .291, 8 homers. He's driven in 31. First pitch high and wide. Kashner, 30 years old, 6'5", 225 pounds. I think that's a little light.
Yeah, he's a bigger man than that.
Yes, he is. And one time, there is a little flare in the center. It's going to fall. A little Kansas City special. He'll take it. And right now, with the leadoff man aboard, let's check out our picks to click. There you see the fans went with Nicky. Crew's going with Yalma. Steve's going with Moncada. And David Novak. Mike Mazza, Pete Catazona. Now we're going to go with Alan Hansen. So here is Moncada. And I'm not going to forget about Lindsey Jordan either. Outfield for the most part straight up.
That's a good change from Cashner, and he's got a dandy.
That was a great motion.
Yeah. He's only given up 9 home runs this year in 114 innings. That's a very low total when you have this park as your home park. Good motion, very deceptive, and he had Yuan well out in front.
That's going to be a souvenir left side.
Man made a good catch, brought his glove and snagged that one.
And here basically at Globe Life Park, 354 down the left field line, 349 down the right field line. A little shorter than that right on the foul poles, but 407 in deep right center, 404 in deep left center, and 390 in left center. Just a short lead.
That ball slipped out of the hand of Chirinos because he thought he might have had a shot at first, but didn't get much on the throw.
Tony, it's hard to believe that they'll have a new ballpark here in 2020.
Yep. Yeah, he decides to wipe it off of Yoan Moncada.
The balk.
There's a break. For Cashner, who's had 9 wild pitches this year to lead the staff by a wide margin, that is his first balk.
There it was.
Right there, he started and stopped and then started again. Some confusion on the signs, and you can't do that.
How many times did you balk in your career?
Not too many.
I'm surprised at all. There is a good. So Moncada, who walked twice last night, and that'll bring up Abreu. And I love what Abreu did last night. Is we showed you that little conversation with Ronaldo Lopez and Ricky Renteria. Well, that indeed is leadership.
Yeah, Jose just knew the right thing to do, and he knew that the youngster, in just his second major league start for the Sox, wanted to show the team how tough he was, and Jose felt, and justifiably so, you can't risk losing him for the rest of the year, or you never know about permanent injury.
Pretty good rip, and that's a souvenir in the mezzanine section.
So I had 5 balks in 14 years.
5?
5.
Wow, that's not many. That's not many. 14 years.
You got to be heads up because the 9 wild pitches show that that curveball that Cashner throws winds up in the dirt a lot.
Cashner, big man and a big Texan out of Montgomery, Texas. Now rack him up. And quickly 2 out.
Well, unfortunately for the boys, Cashner throws a lot of ground balls because of that sinker. And this last double play, in what was shaping up to be a huge inning, certainly helps him out. For him, it was hit to the glove side all kinds of time for Odor, who for some reason was looking at third base, but realizing that he had some time.
Actually, Cashner made that play look very easy.
Yeah, glove side, you should be able to defend that without a great deal of difficulty, although we've seen pitchers having some fielding problems this year.
So here is Delmonico. Takes that change up. Nicky hitting at .365, 3 homers and 8 knocked in.
Nicky had his streak of on base in every game since being called up snapped last night. Certainly wanting to join in starting a new one. And this is a great park for him to hit. It is a left-hand pull hitter's dream here.
Now, the Sox come in hitting at .256 as a club with a 4.75 ERA. We have 135 home runs. Texans, they're hitting at .244 as a team with a 4.44 team ERA, and they have 188 home runs.
They steal bases and hit the ball out of the ballpark. That's what their offense is like.
And there is the second walk of the inning.
And now he officially leads the team in walks. A dubious department that nobody wants to lead. And Chirinos goes out there to try to calm him down.
A reminder, Deadheads, join us on Friday, September 1st for Grateful Dead Night as our Sox take on the Tampa Bay Rays. You can receive a game ticket and a specially designed White Sox Grateful Dead tee. So stick around for the post-game fireworks show presented by Jewel Osco. Visit whitesox.com/Grateful Dead and do it today. Here's Ulmer, 2 for 4 with an RBI last night. That game last night, we walked 9 guys. 3 hours and 49 minutes.
Yeah, it seemed like 3:40, so it went faster.
Hop him right back through the middle for a base hit, Ulmer. One and two.
But Chirinos going out there, he's giving signs to the middle infield on what to do now at 1 and 2 if in fact Delmonico runs.
Nicky is 1 for 1 in stolen bases.
Getting a little bigger lead at first. That one scattered some fans in the second deck.
And looked like some popcorn.
Yeah, that went flying. Fortunately, there's more where that came from. As long as mom or dad has the requisite cash.
Checks it up. No, he didn't go.
Not a bad pitch to run on this pitch because you'd be thinking after a couple of fastballs he'd go back to the straight change.
Had to heat him up. Just got a piece of it.
Pitch number 22 on the way, which is fairly high pitch total for the first inning.
Well, it'd be a disappointing inning if we don't score, having the base hit and 2 walks, and as bobbled by Odor, so we are going to score as Nicky gets into third base, and it's 1-0 good guys on the era by Rougned Odor.
Odor is an offensive second baseman. This is error number 15. He now leads the team in errors, and he let this ball play him. And he knows exactly what he did wrong. He went back on it. Instead of coming and smothering it on the short hop, he tried to get it on the long hop. It wound up eating him up. 4 straight times our Sox have scored in the first inning.
So here's Narvaez hitting at 270, a homer. He's driven in 12, 1 for 2 with an RBI last night. Well, that's the poster child right there for just making contact.
Put the ball in play.
That's it. You don't know what's going to happen. That's why Kansas City the last 4 or 5 years have been tough to beat.
There's a lot of teams that have adopted that 2-strike philosophy and just try to make some contact and pressure the other team's defense.
That had a piece of the plate. Now 37% of the time. No, 67% of the time.
Which is what?
Teams that score first win the game. Now the home team, if they score first, is 69% of the time. It's 37% of the time with a leadoff walker that will score. But we get a freebie. And we'll take it. And after a half inning of play, it's the good guys won and the Rangers coming to bat.
Jeff Bannister's going to line up his Rangers. It's DeShields, Chu, and Andrews at the top, with Beltre, Mazzara, and Gallo in the middle, followed by Napoli, Odor, and Chirinos rounding it out. The defense, and on the lineup behind James Shields, it's Leary, Adam, and Allen in the outfield, with Sanchez, Anderson, Moncada, and Abreu in the infield. Omar Narvaez gets the nod behind the plate, and our Lexus Experience amazing starting pitcher is James Shields. On for his 14th start, he's 2-4, his ERA at 5.90, but he's had a lot of luck career-wise against these Rangers. He's 7-3, but an ERA of 2.66 against them lifetime, so he's dominated this team.
So here's DeShields in center field tonight. Left field last night. And he takes first pitch strike. Delano hitting at 278, 3 homers, 15 knocked in.
James dropped outside him on the first pitch. That's something he did a lot the last time out against KC. That was a good pitch. In fact, it's exactly where you want to throw an 0-1 pitch, but he did not get the benefit of the call. That's the last time out. 6 innings, 7 hits, the 3 earned runs, but 8 strikeouts and just 1 walk. And he had very good control, great command of that cutter last time out.
That evens the count at 2.
Want to keep this lead, you'll keep DeShields off base because he is one of their premier base stealers. 21 times he's stolen a base and caught just 5 times.
High and souvenir time. Bit of a small crowd tonight. They're averaging 31,590. Last night had 23,459.
Kind of surprising, being fireworks night and all.
Very surprising.
I thought they would draw a few more. It was a nice day today.
And that's fair. So the leadoff double. That's his 11th two-bagger.
You just don't expect DeShields to pull the ball that drastically, but this is a sidearm cutter that stayed on the inside part of the plate, and DeShields takes it down the line. Yolmer has no chance. You don't expect DeShields to be a dead pull hitter. And then this ball takes an interesting hop off the side bricks and then away from Liuri in left field.
So here's Chu, 35-year-old veteran, hitting at 251, 14 long ones and 53 driven in. We mentioned Rangers hitting at 244. They have won 4 games in a row, and they're starting to get that lumbered up.
And with the shift the way it was for Chu, he was thinking about a bunt because it can turn into a couple different things, although he's very good against James Shields career-wise. But you bunt it right at Yolmer, DeShields moves up, and you might get a base hit.
Decent lead. Now time is called. Yes, he did.
This Texas team is starting to play very good in their home ballpark. It wasn't always like that this year, but lately they've won 7 of their last 8. And if they're going to get in the conversation, they're already there for the wild card. They've got to start dominating here at home. Now 34-27 with this latest winning streak, but they were 500 at home before this latest streak.
That'll get the job done. Sacrifice 1-3.
In one of the more interesting races, the AL wild card is becoming absolutely a dogfight. Take a look at the Yankees. They've got the lead. The Angels right there in the second wild card spot. But the Royals nipping at their heels. The Twins, the Mariners, the Rangers. And even with the Rays, Orioles, and Blue Jays, they're just 3-3 and 3.5 respectively. So it's a wide open wild card race.
That's why it's there.
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, to keep the interest of the fans and have a chance to go into postseason play. If you can just get in the tournament, anything can happen. We've seen that before.
You're kidding me. Cardinals won 83 games one year.
And they won it all.
Won it all.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't win it all. Tigers gave it to them.
True.
Absolutely gift wrapped it for them.
That was the World Series where the Tigers pitchers completely forgot how to field.
It was unbelievable, wasn't it?
I'd never seen anything like it before.
No. Infield in. Andrus 1 for 5 last night, but he swung the bat pretty well. Hit 3 very hard.
Well, you'd certainly enjoy a philosophy that a few of these Ranger players are taking this year, and that is a two-strike approach where they choke up on the bat and try to put the ball in play, and Andrews is one of those guys. He's not always thinking about hitting the ball out of the ballpark, and Mazara is the same way. Mazara has the most runs batted in on this team because he will shorten his stroke with 2 strikes in an RBI situation.
Well, Stevie, we've talked about it now a long time.
Yeah.
Do the math. The shorter the bat, the shorter the swing. The shorter the swing, the faster the swing. The faster the swing, the more chance you have to make contact. And he's going to come home, and they got him in a pickle. So James will put it on him, and that's out number 2.
Nice play by Yolmer. We'll take another look at it. The rundown went a little bit longer than the Sox would have liked. But right here, they got the shields hung out to dry. And James does a great job on the back end, and that's what a pitcher is taught. If there's a rundown, go to a spot where you believe you're going to get the baseball. Just stay out of the runner's way. You're going to be fine, and James did a nice job of it.
You know, our guys started off the season choking up with 2 strikes. But the key part of that sentence was started off the season.
Yeah.
And here is the future Hall of Famer, Adrian. 0 for 3 last night with a couple of walks, hitting at .309, 13 homers, 52 driven in. He has faced Shields 47 times, has 12 hits, 11 of which stayed in the park. Well, you look at guys, of course, Votto was just an outstanding hitter, Cincinnati. Chokes up now more than anybody in the game. And one of the biggest guys to choke up as far as he does to ever play the game. Rizzo does it every 2 strikes. Since he's come into the league, 2 strikes, he's had one of the best 2-strike approaches. He chokes up 1.5 inches, so to speak.
When he started doing that, he started being able to drive the ball to left center field, and he became a much tougher out.
He's got better control of the bat. You got the shorter the bat, the more control you have. When you played Pepper, we used to play Pepper every day because it was fun. Okay.
Fun
you
and
didn't go
helpful.
down the end of the bat.
No.
You choked up 4 or 5 inches, so you could control it and hit it where you wanted to hit it.
There was usually 3 or 4 guys on the other end, so you wanted to hit to them sequentially.
Well, as I said, if I had to go back in my career and do one thing over again, that's what it would be, because I was just too dumb not to do it when I was playing.
If I had to go back and do it, I'd have to do 2 things.
Don't go there.
I would become 6'4" and become left-handed. If I could change 2 things about my career. 6'4"
right.
left-hander seems to be pretty good. That'd been a good plan.
Yeah. They hadn't made it bad that you could choke up on
No,
enough.
not for my abilities.
2 out, the 1-2 pitch. And come on, yes, that a boy. Allen stayed with it, he committed to it, made the catch, and that'll retire the side. They threaten, can't score. And another look as we go to break, we lead at 1-0.
Presented by State Farm. And we'd like to welcome all of our viewers watching on Nova Cablevision in Lake Bracken, Illinois.
They don't have any of my money in Lake Bracken. One of the few. But here is Anderson. 1 for 4 last night with an RBI triple. Hitting at .242, 14 homers and 41 knocked in. That ball slicing, they won't catch that one. Just a hard single to right.
Tim picks on a first ball fastball and able to hit a line drive rocket to right field. That's Mike Napoli, who we did not see last night. Indians did not re-sign him. He's come here and doing the same thing he was doing there. Although the batting average is down, he still hits the ball out of the park.
Well, last year with Cleveland, 34 homers, 101 knocked in. And they just do get the foot down on the base to get him out. I love. What's this? I love the bunt.
The well-executed bunt is a thing of beauty. Allen thought he was safe. Tim Timmons had other ideas, and then taking another look at it, they say play on.
Well, in baseball, it's the bunt, and safe at home, says George Carlin.
I know, that was a great bit.
Yeah, it was.
You got the blitz in football. You have the sacrifice in baseball.
Yeah, you got the red dog.
Yeah.
Here's Adam at 199, 3 homers. He's driven in 11. Changing his swing, just a little bit of setup.
He does choke up on the bat. You can see it there. The red handle of the bat, so he knows exactly where he wants to be. You build up the knob of the bat with a little tape, then put some more over it, and you're automatically choking up.
Well, a guy I've talked about many times, Sox fans have heard me say that I've never met and I don't want to meet him. Arguably, maybe the greatest player to ever play the game, Barry Bonds.
He's right up there.
Yeah, he's right up there. It's right. And always choked up at least an inch and a half on the bat.
Got right on top of the plate and choked up, making it virtually impossible to get inside on him.
Oh boy, that's okay. That's a good aggressive swing. Well, if you're going to stand right on top of the plate, unless you're just some kind of a Houdini, you better choke up on that bait, on that bat.
Yep. But if you're trying to convince the pitcher, if you want the ball inside, get up on the plate, because from his sideline he's thinking, well, you can't get to the ball in there. This has been the part of Cashner's game that has deteriorated somewhat, and that is the strikeout. He doesn't do this too often. He throws 2-seam sinkers more times than not. He's averaged just around 5 strikeouts per 9 innings. And if you look at some of his earlier numbers, they were far superior to that.
Well, see, that was, to me, that was not a destructive at bat. It was sort of constructive for Adam Engel. Choked up. Had a good aggressive swing on it. One, he was a little quick on it. Hit it hard. Hard. Real hard, but foul.
You got a chance to speak to one of the guys who was really quick on that inside fastball.
And a great guy, former third baseman for us for a while, Jason Nix. One of the quickest hands I've ever seen on the bat.
Nobody hit the ball harder foul than him.
No. They go to third and they get it. They weren't going to get him at first, so a good play by Elvis Andrus, and that'll retire the side.
as a result of the Quintana deal with the Cubs, and that's Eloy Jimenez, who got a promotion to Double-A. And before you start thinking maybe it was too quick, take a look at some of these numbers in the 2 games that Jimenez has played with Birmingham. 5 for 9, a home run, a double, 3 driven in, and scored 3 runs. In 2 games, I would say that's pretty good. This guy's not only going to be a slugger, he is going to be an excellent hitter.
And talking about excellent hitters, here comes one to the plate right now, and he's just 22 years old. Nomar Mazara.
He turned 22 the beginning of the year, and he keeps on getting better. Look at those numbers. With just 16 home runs, he's driven in 82, and that shows you a guy that will have a 2-strike approach.
He does that. He's got a good approach for first pitch.
Last 8 games, well, only 5 multi-hit games, hitting close to 500. Only driven in 14 runs in those 8.
You know, I've known some guys that took the approach when they were struggling of when they stepped in that box, they stepped in there with the idea they were going to take their 2-strike approach before the first pitch was thrown until they got going again.
Yeah, that'll yield a lot of contact.
That's exactly right.
Well, Nomar's very young, and the interesting thing about him is he does have a 2-strike approach, and he uses it normally when he's going well. Then sometimes starts to forget about it, and he starts to struggle. But that's a product of youth. He's going to figure this out. If he gets too much better, he's going to be really difficult to handle.
5 RBIs last night. Big 3-run homer.
His nickname is the Big Chill, and they call him that because he's got such an even disposition about everything on a baseball field. Very smooth at what he does. Off the field, very quiet. Hence the nickname the Big Chill. Driving him home is the key, and Nelson Cruz has 96. Chris Davis with 86. Jonathan Scope the same. Upton with 85, and then Mazara at 82.
And a reminder, join us for Star Wars night on Saturday, August 26th, as our Sox take on the Tigers at 6:10. Now, the first 15,000 in attendance will take home a White Sox Stormtrooper bobblehead. And stick around for a post-game fireworks show presented by all the great folks, the good folks at Magellan Corporation. So purchase tickets today at whitesox.com or call 866-SOX-GAME. Big, strong Joey Gallo. 209, but he has 35 homers and 65 driven in. And he's just 23 years old. Well, these young players are just getting better and better and better.
Well, he's on his way to strike out 200 times, but it doesn't matter as long as he keeps driving him in and hitting him out of the park.
I'll tell you, the way our guy was going, Matt Davidson, you know, he started coming around when he started choking up a little bit with 2 strikes.
We can get that wrist healthy again.
Well, he's got 22 homers.
I know he's got a
second on the club, one behind Abreu.
Yeah, going to top off just a terrific year.
Talked to him yesterday, and he said it's feeling a lot better than it was. It's still sore. That's a little can of corn out there in the left. But Matt's the kind of guy with his power and his strength. If he'd go to that plate, in my opinion, if he'd go to that plate and choke up an inch and a half on that bat, in my mind, there's no question he'd hit 40 home runs a year.
I would think that another ancillary benefit to choking up on the bat would be that you could check up your swing a lot easier than if you took it down to the bottom.
You're not going to have near as many check swing strikeouts on breaking balls going away. Not near as many. And I'll guarantee you, I haven't talked with Trick about it specifically. Todd Steverson, our hitting coach, but I'll guarantee he has asked some of these guys to try choking up, and a lot of them won't do it. They don't want to do it because they've never done it.
Usually you have to wait for a guy to hit as close to rock bottom as possible for them to make a change like that.
That's
unfortunately
exactly
that's the case.
The truth.
Yeah.
Matt's got huge, as you look at Todd, huge upside does Davidson have.
All Matt needed was the opportunity. He got the opportunity. He's made the most of the opportunity. Now he just has to get healthy again and continue what has been a very strong year. One of the things the Indians said with the loss of Napoli was not so much the production. The production was great last year for Napoli. When you hit over 30 home runs and driving over 100, you're getting the job done. One of the things that they missed with Napoli and missed this year is the leadership that he exhibits in the clubhouse and on the field. He's just a natural leader and seems to wind up in places where coincidentally they win.
He gone. Well, he's one of those guys in the last few years. It's not so much what he hit, it was when he hit it.
He was a terrific clutch hitter, very much a streak hitter for the Indians, but they miss a whole lot of his presence. And there's a sidearm fastball that drifts back, catches the corner, and it was the late movement that got him to call third.
So here's Odor. 222, but he has 24 homers and 53 driven in. Take strike one. Odor last year, 271, 33 homers, knocked in 88 at the tender age of 22.
Yeah, he's a very strong guy. Another one of those guys that is very fiery on the field, but off the field he's very quiet, goes about his profession. But two distinct personalities, very similar to, a little more fiery on the field than Mazzara.
Well, the great psychologist, he's one of the best in the world, Dick Schwartz. His seminars and speeches, written a lot of books, seminars and speeches all over the world. He said it's very common for great athletes to have an alter ego.
Yeah, you got to be one person on the field, and sometimes that's not the best person off the field.
He gone, and it'll retire the side. Couple of strikeouts after the leadoff walk, and it's still 1-0 good guys.
Charlotte Knights are back on CSN Sunday as they wrap up their homestand against the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs. Follow the Knights Sunday at 7 on CSN or stream the game live at csnchicago.com or on the NBC Sports app. Michael Kopech promoted to AAA Charlotte. Look at those numbers. 155 strikeouts. He's been a good one.
High pop-up. Joey Gallo.
You take a look at 22 starts, a 2.87 ERA. He went and started at AA for the express purpose of working on the secondary pitches, the slider and the change. The big fastball is always going to be there, and now he gets a shot at moving up to AAA.
Here's Abreu, hit into a 1-4-3 double play in the first inning. Hit the ball sharply right back to Cash. Takes first pitch strike, and Vadim Reber and David Lotsoff from Buffalo Grove here down in Texas, rooting for the Sox, and then they'll be here tomorrow as well. But we have a lot of Sox fans here every year.
I can understand a great city and a wonderful hotel.
George Jacobs was here last night. I haven't seen him tonight. I haven't seen that yellow M&M jacket.
Yeah, I think he melted.
He was wearing it, though. I'll tell you that.
I don't know how he does it in this heat and humidity, because it doesn't breathe.
That's sliced into short right field, coming on, and he can't get there. So there's a definite Kansas City special. Hits the first one hard. Just bloops that one in there, so he's 1 for 2.
Looked like Mazzara might have pulled up on this a little too soon, but Jose will gladly take it in his pursuit of 300. He's a steady enough right fielder, has a pretty good arm. What he doesn't possess, and that's not essential for a right fielder, is overwhelming speed. He does not have that. But that's one of the few deficiencies in his game.
Boy, it sure helps.
It does every aspect of the game if you have it.
Well, I know when I played right field with the Red Sox, it was great to have Reggie Smith out there because he could fly, and he had, to this day, he probably had as good an arm as any center fielder I've ever seen. He had a cannon. So what that did was that allowed me to play a couple of more steps according to who was pitching and who was hitting over towards the line, because I knew anything in right center Reggie was going to cover. And that's one of the big reasons that we won the pennant in 1967, because Yaz was in left, Reggie was in center, I was in right, and nothing hit the ground out there. And you, being a former pitcher, knows.
Yeah, that helps.
Oh boy, when nothing hits the ground in the outfield.
And giving the extra outs in that ballpark is normally disastrous.
I was telling Reggie the other day, I said, yeah, people don't understand you play center and right. At the same time. One out, 0-2 the count.
Tried to get him to go after a straight change, but I think he was able to keep his hands back and take it harmlessly.
He walked his first trip. Get out of here. It will. Right on the edge of the dugout. I'll tell you, for a rookie, he has a nice presence at that plate and has from day one.
He's very confident swinging the bat. No doubt about that. And he gets another life here in Arlington because there's not a whole lot of room in foul territory. So hitters, I mean, this is very much a hitter's park, always has been. And one of the aspects that make it that is very little foul territory.
I just can't believe they're going to get rid of this park in 2020.
Well, Arlington decided, as Texas Rangers were talking about some other locations, Arlington decided to pass a bond issue. They got $500 million to give to the ball club. Now, with a retractable dome, they're thinking these days it's going to be $1 billion, $1.2 billion maybe, and the Rangers are going to participate the rest of the way. But you get a $500 million from the city, that's good.
How about Jerry Jones? That stadium he built,
privately funded, and
it was paid off before the first game.
No, it's
that
pretty
ball
amazing.
hit high in the left field. Joey Gallo is back there, and here's a tag by Abreu, and he's going to make it into second base. So 2 down.
Heads up base running on a guy with a great arm. Gallo has probably as good an arm as any left fielder in this game because he's a third baseman, and he's got a cannon for an arm. We'll watch it again, and
they're going to look at it, probably saying he probably left too quick. Yeah, but that's something for Jerry Jones to build that stadium and have it completely paid off before the first game. Well over $1 billion.
Okay, this is in real time, the exact same instant that the ball's in the glove and Jose is still on the bag.
Now they're saying he's off the bag. Was he off the bag at second base?
Well, there is a chance at that.
He's out.
And that was the chance. It's called a pop-up slide for a reason. The only problem is if you pop up, you're off the bag. And if he keeps a glove on you.
He was off for an instant.
Yep.
And that was enough. So that'll retire the side. And we'll go to the bottom of the third. It is 1-0 Sox.
Miller time later in the game, brought to you by Miller Lite. So I understand yesterday when I came to the ballpark and I saw Jeff Snook here, normally when I do see that these days, I start thinking about the book that's going to have your name on it that Jeff is helping you with and organizing your thoughts and experiences and all that goes with it. Are you starting to get excited about when this book is going to come out, and when is the projected time for the book to come out?
Well, you know, since it came out, it's like I told you today alone, I got 28 texts. You know, when's it going to be out? Well, right now we're putting the finishing touches on the manuscript, and in fact, I was reading this morning, and when I go home after the game, Jeff's going to be there. We're going to do some more reading. He's got about 25 chapters, and we're trying to get it out. Well, as I said, we're putting the finishing touches on it now, so that's going to be up to him.
Will it be out by opening day next year? I think a lot of people.
Oh yeah, I think it will be.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's as I said earlier, it's going to be interesting. The thing that, like when I was in Boston, the media up there was asking me about it. They had read about it and heard about it, you know, and I told them, I said, you know, I was going to go to the grave with a lot of this stuff. But then Jeff did a lot of research and found some stories that some of the guys that are not going to like it. I read stories that they had given about me, and they were lies. So I said, if that's the case, I'm not going to the grave with it.
Yeah, because if you do that, it's so tough to get quotes from you after that. So I would think get as much as you can out.
Oh yes, Jolan got a good jump. Good jump right there. So Trinos. That's a hang with him. 1 out.
Nice play by Moncada as he moves to his left and spears one. Good piece of hitting by Chirinos because he took a cutter. It was outside and he stayed right with it. Hit it hard. But Moncada right there.
So here's Delino. He doubled right down the third baseline, leading off the bottom of the first. Then the bunt by Chu. Then Andrus came to the plate, hit a ground ball to Yolmer, who made a good pick on it, came home, and they got him in a pickle and got him out. Stevie, you talked about it in the first inning. I sure like the change that Shields has made.
Well, it's a radical departure from what he was doing. And look, James has been a winning pitcher wherever he's gone. And anytime you get in the neighborhood of anywhere from 20 to 30 games over 500, which he's been consistently, you know how to pitch. But things that he used to do, he wasn't able to do these days. And so the adjustment that a veteran pitcher, a guy who's been around as long as James, made was he was going to drop down more sidearm. He's 15 over now, but the ERA at 3.96, but 135 wins. That's pretty good. Now he's starting game number 365, but he's starting to drop down consistently to both left and right-handers. And it gives them a different look, something they haven't seen before.
That's the whole key.
Yep. Make adjustments.
Make a change. If it's not working, you change it. Make an adjustment.
So that part of it is awfully good, and James has been very effective the last couple of starts with more sidearm pitches.
The one pitch that I really loved was that tailing fastball coming back over the outside corner of Napoli.
Yeah, that was a good one, and normally that's one to a left-hand hitter. You started at his hip. It shaves off the inside part of the plate. To Napoli, it was well outside, then darted over the corner.
Three and 0. The count to Chu. Hang loose. Chu with that sacrifice bunt. Taking all the way, and there's the strike. 35-year-old veteran, smart player, sends to Chu.
His biggest problems lately is trying to stay healthy.
That's a good pitch.
The good cutter on the inside part of the plate. Chu gave up on it, but that ball had the whole plate. Checks his swing, but that had a third of the inside part of the plate.
And that's it. He's a smart player. He's always, for the most part, when he's played against us, he's always taking what you give him. That's just the second hit for them.
Takes that outside pitch, drives it into left field. And more important, as far as the Rangers are concerned, it keeps the inning alive and brings one of their red hot hitters up.
Andrus hit into that 5-2, 5-1 pickle.
He's got a long-term deal that culminates in 2021, something along those lines. But he has, like a lot of players have these days, he has an out after next season. So if he has the kind of year he's having this year, next year, it'll be interesting to see if he decides to stay around.
Andrus, who will be 29 in about a week.
Originally out of the Atlanta organization, came over in the Mark Teixeira deal. Jose lost his glove, but was able to retrieve the ball. So Jose reaches down. This ball hits Chu. He doesn't get a glove on it because he didn't have the glove. But Chu's body stopped it.
Well, in baseball, always three ways for everything. And Andrus, there's a 29-year-old. There's three counts of 29. There is a 29-year-old who is playing like a 29-year-old. There's a 29-year-old who is an old 29-year-old, and there's a 29-year-old who plays like a 25-year-old.
He falls into the latter category.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
He falls into the latter category.
And he keeps on getting better, which is somewhat surprising. I mean, he's going to more than double his career high in home runs. And sitting at 64 driven in, he's in the middle of a lineup that puts a lot of men on base.
Gap out there in left center. Chu with a good lead. And of course, James Shields very quick to first base. There he goes. And he's safe. He's now 11 for 14 in stolen bases. They got him. Oh, a strikeout. Oh, I wasn't watching that. Andrus can't believe it. Meanwhile, it's still 1-0 good guys.
CSN is getting you ready for the prep season with a special high school lights preview show presented by Wintrust. Break down the preseason poll, matchups to watch out for, and more. That's tonight, 11 p.m. on CSN, or stream live at csnchicago.com/watch live.
Watch this. Good pitch.
Yeah, it's right down the middle.
Will Little didn't do anything. I was watching the throw because he didn't raise up his arm or anything. So here we go. Yolmer, Narvaez, and Anderson. One 3-0 for us. 0-2 and a big one that gave us an unearned run in the first inning for them. Cashner has walked 2 and struck out 1. High, get out of here. Now he picks it up. He lost it for a second.
Yeah, had he been able to track it the whole way, there's a good chance you can lean into those seats and make the catch, but he did lose sight of the high pop-up. It's not quite night yet, and the lights haven't completely taken over. But Yolmer will take it. He gets another life.
That fastball at 93, and it's 3-1. And that's going to be back in the play for a full count. Back for a souvenir. And that's ball 4. The leadoff walk. That'll bring up Omar. Get the ball sharply back to Cashner.
This is a very good hit and run combination if Rick decides that he wants to use it, because Omar will make some contact.
Yeah, of all the guys in this lineup, if you can put it on, he's probably, as a rule, the best one to do it with. Up at the top of the zone.
Also, being a catcher, you take the double play out of the equation if you're running. Yolmer has pretty decent speed, and you get a guy that throws lots of ground balls in Cashner.
There he goes. And indeed, the hit and run was on. Popped up into right field. Mazara, you better get back.
Unfortunately, hit him. Otherwise, it's going to be really close at first base, as Yolmer might not have located the ball right away, but he's able to get back in. So Mazara's got it, and it's going to be close at first, except it hits him in the back and bounds away. That was a break.
Yes, it was. It was a good throw. He's gone.
Yep.
So here's Anderson. He lined a hard single into right field, leading off the second. Takes a strike. You know, in that hit and run, in years past, there were managers that had trends, tells, like you do.
Yep, sure.
And every time they got a guy who was fairly slow at first base on with nobody out, it was almost going to be an automatic hit and run. Rack him up. So we get the leadoff walk, can't do anything with it, and we'll go to the bottom of the fourth, leading 1-0.
Insider all season long on CSNChicago.com, presented by The Great Escape. Whether it's pools, patio furniture, hot tubs, or more, escape your everyday. Shop The Great Escape.
It'll be Beltre, Mazzara, and Gallo here. Near half of the fourth inning. First pitch strike. Adrian hit a line shot, low line drive into right field that Alan Hansen got a good jump on, committed to it, stayed with it, and made the catch. And of course that saved a run. High underneath it. And not going to be playable.
That's 11 of 13 first pitch fastballs for James Shields. So you're talking about a radical change in variety of pitches, because normally he averages 60% first ball fastballs. This is well over 80%. And that's one of the adjustments he's making, is come right at the hitters.
He gone.
That's a good breaking ball on an 0-2 pitch. Had Beltre expanding his strike zone. That was a great sequence. Shields to Beltre.
That's his fourth strikeout. And here is Mazzara. He walked, leading off the second.
Beltre's only struck out 35 times in 252 at bats. That's pretty good.
He's a tremendous player.
Yes, he is. In a day and age when strikeouts are going way up, his are going down.
Gap out there in left center. And there's a base hit. Just the third hit given up by Shields.
And even with the shift, Mazara pulled the ball into the shift, but it was just far enough away from Yoan that he couldn't get to it. Lucas Giolito will be pitching one of the games of the doubleheader on Monday against the Twins. This is what he did in AAA, 6-10, but he was throwing the ball a whole lot better of recent vintage. His ERA at 4.48, and he'd made 24 starts.
Here's Gallo. Popped up to left field to Leury.
Omar looking over in the dugout to see if there's any suggestions.
Got a break. We'll take it. 0-2.
See things a whole lot better in the month of August, especially average-wise. This guy hitting just barely over 200, but 275 in August, and 10 home runs in 16 games.
Oh yeah, he gone. 2 down.
That's 5 strikeouts for James. Another good breaking ball.
Yeah, took something off of it. Had him way up.
Yellow. Extreme uppercut swing. And swings way over the top of that. He was swinging at the invisible ball. Which can happen on a good curveball. It can happen, yeah.
So here's Mike Napoli, called out on strikes back in the second inning. Zara 2 for 4 on stolen bases as Mike takes a strike. 1-1 to count with 2 down, 1 on here in the bottom of the 4th. I was just getting ready to say Mike's one of those guys you can call him quick strike Mike.
Yeah, that time that was a sidearm breaking ball that fortunately spun on the inside part. That never got the plate, and Napoli unloaded on it, but hooked it well foul. High leg kick, and fortunately this is probably 75 feet foul. See where it stayed? It stayed on the inside part. And even Napoli knows he's got no chance of staying fair.
Well, those high leg kicks are great if you have courage enough to start them in time, or quick enough, I should say. The one thing you don't want, if you want to try the high leg kick, don't be late getting it up. Got to get it up early.
The high leg kick is one thing, gives you hang time, as we've talked about, lets you wait back some. But when does your foot have to hit the ground?
Well, that's why you have to have the courage to do it, because the foot, some guys can hit while the foot is still literally off the ground. Other guys have to get it down quicker. And that's just like a fingerprint. You have to see and try experiment with it. That ball hit hard. Way back. Quick strike Mike. And it's a 2-1 Texas lead.
That's one of the reasons why Texas got him down here. It's his 25th home run. Drives in run number 53 and 54. And a Ford home run replay. This one stayed on the outer third of the plate, and it stayed waist high. And Napoli, who just missed a home run down the left field line, uses a bigger part of the ballpark and takes it out.
So here's Rougned Odor. He struck out swinging on a high fastball.
Rangers creeping up on the Astros.
And that'll retire the side, but not before Napoli goes deep, way back in one of the deep parts of the ballpark. It's Rangers by 1.
Talk podcast brought to you by Wintrust. Eloy Jimenez and Zach Collins are being promoted to Double-A Birmingham, and our Sox insider Dan Hayes explains the impact both players will have and their likely path to the majors, plus the underrated ability of Casey Gillespie, who the White Sox acquired in the Dan Jennings trade, and more.
2-1 bad guys here in the top of the 5th. It'll be Hansen, Engel, and back to the top of the order with Leury, Garcia. Andrus got him. And a reminder, our 2017 White Sox are presented by Guaranteed Rate. Your mortgage, your way. Your mortgage, your way. So go to rate.com for a low, low rate.
That's 9 outs garnered with ground balls in the infield, including a couple of double plays, one started by Cashner.
First pitch strike to Adam Engel. Struck out his first trip. And that's out number 2.
One of the things that never changed in this game, and there's a lot that has changed, but if you're going to throw sinkers it really is to your benefit to be a good fielder, because if you throw sinkers away, your right-hand pitcher sinkers away from a right-hand hitter, he's going to hit it right back at you. And if you can't field your position, normally right back up the middle is the biggest hole in the infield. If you can't knock the ball down or play the ball, you're opening up a huge section of your infield.
Uri had a single, scored, and he also has hit into a 6-5 fielder's choice. First pitch strike. And right now, last couple of innings, 2 innings, 3 innings, Cashner in a good rhythm. This is when you see a guy out there, he gets in his rhythm. This is when you got to do something to disturb him a little bit.
Yeah, step out, do whatever you need to do.
That's it. That's exactly right. Keep stepping out, upset him, make him mad if you can.
Well, this is 4 starts in a row where Cashner's thrown the ball very well. And with Yu Darvish gone now, Cashner figures prominently in this team trying to get to the playoffs. There's the line so far. The 1 Sox run unearned. He's not a strikeout pitcher any longer. He once was. Now he pitches to contact.
Yeah, this is where guys in years past, they would step out, just try to tick him off.
Sometimes guys get upset if you bunt on him, and the cure for that is keep bunting on him.
That's right. If you can upset him, any way to upset him.
Yeah, there are guys who are really, when you bunt on them, they take it as a personal insult. So the 2-seam fastball, which is his sinker, he throws 51% of the time, with a changeup at 16, slider at 14, curveball at just 8%. Of course, I would assume that a few of those sliders probably have been misread, because he talks about himself, the fact that he throws curveballs and not sliders per se.
And yanks that one foul. We scored an unearned run in the first. They scored 2 last inning on a 2-run homer by Mike Napoli. And that's an easy 1-2-3 inning. We're halfway home, trailing by 1.
Gotcha.
host a pregame patio party this season, and you receive a game ticket and an all-you-can-eat buffet and all-inclusive wine, beer, and Coke products. Patio opens 90 minutes prior to the game and closes 30 minutes after the start of the game. To purchase your tickets, visit whitesox.com/group. And the Bertucci boys, Bobby, Bruno, and Handsome Anthony, they'll take care of you. Chirinos hit a line drive and a beautiful play. Terrific jump by Moncada, and he made it. There's a strike.
Jeff Bannister talking about Chirinos, saying that they want to limit the amount of games he catches because of the heat here. And he took that opportunity to marvel at Pudge Rodriguez and how many games he could catch every year in this Texas heat.
That's
and
what
not
I was going to
wear
say.
down.
Go talk to Pudge Rodriguez about that.
Yeah, it's really difficult to put on the catcher's gear. It's 97, 98 lots of time in the summertime. You're catching a whole lot of pitches because this is a hitter's ballpark, and it just wears you down.
It wore Pudge Rodriguez all the way to Cooperstown.
Yeah, he was, well, just a magnificent physical specimen.
He gone. He was unbelievable. He was absolutely unbelievable. So 6 strikeouts now for Shields. This is, if you're just tuning in, this is, for me, this is the most commanding presence he's had on that mound this year.
Yeah, I mean, last time out, he did approximately the same thing. He got in trouble early and then smoothed things out and threw the ball very well. And he's thrown it well again tonight. The biggest difference for this Texas team that he's facing is that last year they were 36-11 in one-run games. That is remarkable. This year, same one-run games, just 11-19.
DeShields doubled right down the third baseline, leading off the bottom of the first, and then in the third inning, he went out deep to right. He did not go.
It's a good pitch. Did not get the low strike.
Got that one. And that evens the count at 2. It's full.
A few days ago, they retired the number of Pudge Rodriguez. There he is on the right. And it's nice to see that some things don't change, and that great arm of his is one of those things. Haven't seen a guy throw out the first pitch from behind the plate to second base, but actually pretty good call because Omar thought it was inside. He just moved it as the ball came in. Now you got a base stealer at first.
You know, outside of Johnny Bench got the ball down to second base quicker than any catcher I've ever seen. Pudge Rodriguez was really close to him. And Pudge had better footwork than Bench.
I was going to say Bench had a stronger arm, but the footwork of Pudge was just outstanding.
It was about as good as you can get.
Yeah.
Yeah, Johnny Bench was, and I say this very complimentary. He was freakish throwing the ball.
Well, he had astonishingly large hands. Anytime you can hold 5 baseballs in one hand, that's saying something. And he could do that.
Tell you something else Johnny could do. JB could sing.
Didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. In those CGA events we used to play.
Yes.
Bad, bad Leroy Brown. Baddest man in the whole damn town.
Geez, I wish he'd have gone into singing.
No, he hit you good.
He tormented a whole lot of pitchers during the course of his Hall of Fame career.
Oh, yeah. JB he was a good singer.
Albert Pujols tied Sammy Sosa, hitting number 609 as far as home runs are concerned. He's 8th on the all-time list, but he ties Sosa for the most of any foreign-born player in the history of this game.
Well, we got to get Albert to 700 somehow. That's a tall order.
Yeah, getting there is going to be difficult for him at his age with the amount of leg injuries that he's had.
Yeah.
But, you know, as a DH most of the time these days, he's going to get close. I can't see him getting to 700.
Well, that's a wish on my part.
Yeah.
I'd love to see him get there. He has been such an asset to this game. Line shot caught. Yes, and they're going to double him up. Beautiful play timing jump by Yolmer Sanchez, and they'll retire the side. It is still 2-1 Texas. Mercy.
Bad base running play for a couple of different reasons. Number one, the play is right in front of you. DeShields is looking right at Yolmer. Number two, on a base hit to left field, he's not going to third base. If he just holds it up, the inning stays alive. By running, he gets doubled off, the inning over. But if he could have gone to third base, that would be something else. He just couldn't, not on a line drive to left field.
And considering our left fielder, there's no chance.
No. Nope.
Uri, with that gun he's got and that speed he has. On that play, he might have thrown him out of second.
He's got a great arm.
Meanwhile, here's Moncada, a walk and a pop up to left. We trail it 2-1 here in our half of the 6th inning.
Chirinos wanted a high fastball, and Cashner just filled up the glove. That one got a piece of Chirinos. So Will Little, the home plate up, is going to give him a little time to regroup. And he got hit in the throat. That's one spot, try as they might to improve the health of catchers. The one spot that constantly is vulnerable is the neck. That's a change, and it goes right up under the mask.
Oh boy, that is. I'll tell you, those guys and umpires, they take a beating.
There's no doubt. If you're going to wear the catcher's gear, which is affectionately called the tools of ignorance, you're going to have to be a really tough guy.
Lays off that one. 2-2 to Yohan with Abreu on deck.
Looked like a straight change coming. It was, but he couldn't put it in the zone.
And it's full. That's in the center field. That's a can of corn.
So we'll take a look at a final score from Charlotte. They defeat the Iron Pigs. Jacob May 3 for 5. A couple driven in and a run. Tyler Danish, a nice job. 7 innings, 3 earned runs, and he got the win.
So here is Abreu. He is 1 for 2. Little Kansas City special single in right field. Listen to this. This is almost unbelievable. Twins Byron Buxton races around the bases in 13.85 seconds for fastest inside the park homer in Statcast era. 13.85.
Well, when you take a look at his stride, as you and I both have, and see how smooth he is running the bases, the speed is unquestioned, but the ability to run the bases is something that gets him there with the fastest time. Yeah, having looked at that, not surprising, because he's a burner.
Well, that's unbelievable, as that's fouled back. The fastest by any other player in history was 14.24.
That's pretty impressive.
Well, I played with a guy who at one time held the record from home plate to third base. His name was Jay Hankins, a little outfielder, and he was like at 13.4 or 13.3, and that was just to third base. And he could run.
It's absolutely amazing watching the long strides of Byron Buxton. The reason why all of these years, despite all of the offensive struggles, Twins have never given up on him.
Well, he's the prettiest runner in the league.
Yeah.
When I say that, it's the gracefulness of it. Here's the 2-2. Yanks that one foul. Tried to heat him up.
That was the fastest fastball he's thrown tonight.
Fastest I've seen.
Yeah, but he was fortunate in that ball was on the outer third, exactly where Jose would have liked to hit a fastball, and he fouled it straight back. When you're on the mound, when a hitter fouls a ball straight back, you know you better make an adjustment, because he was right on it. He just missed it.
The fastball at 97. And there's another little soft single into right field. So he's 2 for 3.
We'll take a look at Albert Pujols. And homer number 609. A hanging curveball. A line drive rocket. You've talked a long time about small fences making a hitter's dream ballpark.
No question.
Short fences.
I don't care what the distances are, as long as the fences are short. They're low fences.
So Hellickson gives up a record-tying home run.
So here is Delmonico. Takes ball one. Nicky has walked and flied deep to left field. Deep enough for Abreu, who was at first base, to tag, get into second, but he took his foot off the base when he slid in. And Elvis Andrus kept the bag on him. He looks up. You can put it on the board. Yes. A line shot. And it's a 3-2 Sox lead.
Fourth home run. RBIs 9 and 10 for Nicky. A line drive rocket. And a no-doubter. Our fourth home run replay. Looked like a fastball down and a line drive out.
And of course, with that home run, the Alex Nelius family, another generous donation to White Sox charities in loving memory of Ursula.
It's a very happy young man, and why not?
You know, I watch guys, as you know, I go in the clubhouse after every game. And I watch guys. I like to see the reaction in the clubhouse, like the body language, on whether we win or lose, stuff like that. Ricky is the kind of guy, or Nicky, I should say, that he looks like he is happy most of the time.
Well, this is an opportunity of a lifetime for him because it's his third organization, the first time he's called to the major leagues. And what was so impressive, I mean, both of us read about, saw him in spring training about what he could do. And he left an impression that, you know, this guy's got some skills. You don't know when he was going to get called back or if he was going to get called back. This is his first shot at the major leagues. But getting that opportunity from the first at bat, he didn't look overwhelmed by anything.
His presence.
Yeah,
that's the first thing you got to look for in a young player, presence. That's why we both like Ronaldo Lopez in his first outing, is that's off the pitcher. Karem's over to Odor. So Yolmer is out. 2 gone. But I think I mentioned this to you earlier. I really like talking baseball with Eddie Casson. Eddie Casson, for those of you who don't know who he is, he's our director of travel. And Eddie knows the game of baseball. I mean, he really knows the game of baseball. And I was talking to him. I said, Eddie, who's the guy that really impressed you this spring? Because Eddie is there every day. He said, Nicky Delmonico. He said he's got a chance to be a good one.
Well, he sure does, and he's got a chance to give this Sox team truly what they needed desperately, which is a left-hand hitting run producer.
Narvaez.
Doug Brocail out to the mound to talk with Cashner for a double purpose, actually. One is to try to settle him down, and another is to give that bullpen a chance to throw another 10 pitches. So he wants to stay out there as long as Will Little will let him, to make sure that that pen is ready to go when the call is forthcoming.
Yeah, Delmonico looks like a guy who loves to laugh, loves to smile.
I just like to see guys who have battled through a couple different organizations, never had the opportunity. When finally presented with the opportunity, it's nice to see guys to take advantage of that, because you don't know if it's ever coming around again.
I'm with you 100% on that.
Yeah, this is what.
There's ball 4 to Omar.
You can't predict how it's going to work out, but you do know when you get your opportunities, you just have to step up, and Nicky Delmonico has done every bit of that.
So here's Anderson. He has singled hard to right field and also hit it into a 6-4-3 double play. Get through it. Will. Very, very fast infield here in Arlington.
This is really a hitter's delight.
Well,
because the ball flies.
We saw the home run by Albert in Baltimore with a low fence. Low fence out there for Nicky.
It's the same thing, and the fact that because they just don't get a whole lot of rain normally, and because they do have a baking sun seemingly every day, the dirt part of the infield is very hard, and consequently with short grass and a hard dirt, you're going to get balls flying through the infield, and that's what happens here. This is known outside of some of the artificial surface fields. This is known as the fastest infield around.
Don't stop now, boys, as here's Alan Hansen. Had a bunt and a ground out to short.
And a fine play defensively in right field.
Beautiful play.
Yep.
Taking a hit away from Beltray and an RBI.
Allen's another one of those guys. He's got a lot of skills. There's things that he does very well, including versatility. He can play anywhere. He's an infielder by trade, but he's done a nice job in the outfield. And he's got great speed.
I tell you, I played in Dallas, and in that old ballpark, the one before the other ballpark, and it was like playing at Midway.
Yeah,
that's how hard it was. Two on, two in, two out, 2-1 to count. Had him off balance. Watch out, that got him. And that'll load him up.
And this is going to be it. The last pitch that Cashner will throw. Catches Hansen, and he's aboard.
Well,
that's going to load him up.
And Adaminga will be the hitter when we get back. Night at Guaranteed Rate Field on Monday, August 21st, as our Sox take on the Minnesota Twins of Paul Molitor. Receive a game ticket commemorative Beatles White Sox hat. So visit whitesox.com/Beatles to get yours today.
Our Hyundai call to the pen is Tony Barnett. He comes into this one for the 34th time. He's 1-1. His ERA about 5.5. There you look at the rest of the numbers. The strikeouts per innings pitched are good. However, right-hand hitters have hit him a lot better than the lefties, and he inherits a problem. The bases loaded, but he does have 2 outs.
And here's Adam. He's 0 for 2 tonight. Takes first pitch strike. Barnett, 33 years old. Born in Alaska. Now resides in Phoenix. In fact, he went to Arizona State. Lays off that breaking ball. Not a big guy, 6'1", 190.
After pitching in Japan, the Rangers saw him, liked what he was doing, offered him a 2-year deal, and he became a 32-year-old rookie in the major leagues.
Pitched over there 6 years.
He did that. And out of Arizona State.
Get down. Get down. It won't. Good play by DeShields. But we take the lead on this by Nicky Delmonico. Take on the Cleveland Indians on Thursday, September 7th at 7:10. Now the first 20,000 fans will receive a White Sox hooded Henley presented by Guaranteed Rate. So get your low mortgage rate at rate.com today. So to get your tickets, visit whitesox.com.
This is going to be a tough inning for James Shields as you look at the man who had a very good inning, Nicky Delmonico. But James is through the lineup now for the 3rd time. He's got the heart of the order due up on what has been recently a red-hot offense.
Andrus 0 for 2. Takes ball 1.
James has kept it to a minimum of pitches so far. This is just number 80 forthcoming.
There's a strike. Yanks it, and the count evens at 2. Beltre on deck, Mazzara in the hole.
A lot of Sox fans in attendance. And there's one with a very good looking Sox cap.
That's into right field. We got a man there. 1 out.
The Intimidators got edged out by the Suns. Out hit 11-5. And there you look at some of the highlights. Evan Skoog, Grant Massey.
Beltre ran line one hard into right field, and Hansen stayed with and made a good catch on it. That is high and souvenir time.
I don't know how one hit that high, found its way into the second deck, but it did.
Yeah, a little contrast in pitches thrown tonight and last night. Last night there was 326 pitches thrown by both teams. There's a base hit.
Two guys up, 2 line drives, something I'm sure that Don Cooper is keeping a close eye on, and that is 3,020, tying Rafi Palmeiro for 27th all time. And the fans to work.
What a player, Rafael Palmeiro.
Yeah, terrific hitter.
What a player.
Came out of this organization.
He's pretty good. He's pretty good first baseman too.
Yeah.
Zara has walked, singled, and scored, and the ball gets away.
That is a wild pitch.
Just the 3rd wild pitch by Shields this year.
Nice effort by Narvaez, but unfortunately when that ball hit, it caromed away, and that is a tying run out at second base. Finally, before hit 3,021, 3,020 is up and active.
Now field straight up, spread out. A little bit of a gap out there in left center.
Aaron Bummer loosening in the pen. You got Joey Gallo in the on deck circle. One of the more prolific left hand power hitters around.
One out, 1 ball, 1 strike. How about one of the great players to ever put a pair of spikes on, was born 83 years old. 83 years ago, I should say.
'83. Let's see. Let me think of all the guys who are 82 and then figure out who is a pretty good old country hitter.
You better believe it.
Well, the
You can get it.
reason why there's a 21-foot wall in Pittsburgh is because of this guy.
That's exactly right.
And that is Roberto Clemente,
What a player.
who on a rescue mission to Nicaragua, plane went down. He wound up with exactly 3,000 hits. A remarkable player.
He hit one of the hardest balls I've ever seen hit in my whole career. Spring training against us. If we can get out of this inning without them scoring, I'll tell you just how hard it was hit. One and two. Down and around it.
Lazar has been, if not the hottest hitter, he's one of the hottest hitters in the league right now. This is where you really have to be careful. And James knows that better than anybody.
Three 6-0 for us, 2-5-1 for them.
And Beltre, who will talk to anybody, having a nice conversation with Tim Anderson. Probably going along the lines of, hey, I'm 38. You can't be picking me off.
Take him right here, James. It's full. And that will put two on.
And now the question for Rick Renteria and Don Cooper. And I think it's been answered. As Bummer had been throwing, you would think he'd want the lefty-lefty. However, occasionally he will go out and ask of his pitcher, do you have enough to get him?
I love that in a manager.
He's going to ask
that in a manager.
He's going to ask him some questions, going to look in his eye, and he's going to determine if he believes that James can get him out. But he's going to take him down in favor of Aaron Bummer. So James walking out, shaking his head. He did quite a job against a hot ball club, and as he walks out, so will we. We'll be back. And he'll depart with the lead, but there's 2 on with only 1 out. He had a big strikeout night, getting some with that slow curve. Using a drop-down fastball to his best advantage. And our Hyundai call to the pen is Aaron Bummer, who inherits runners at first and second. Only 1 out. He's on for the 11th time. There you look at the numbers. He's got to face a big power-hitting left-hander, Joey Gallo.
So 2 on, 1 out. Gallo is hitting .230 against southpaws. .209 on the season, but he has those 35 long ones, 35 home runs, and 65 knocked in. All right, take your time, boys. Rack 'em up. Yes, attaboy, Aaron. Pitches out of it. And we'll go to the 7th, leading by 1.
He'd only grounded to 1 double play all year before that. James Shields very happy. The lead intact. And the double play ground ball and out of the inning. Nice job by Aaron Bummer.
Indeed it was.
And a fine job tonight by James Shields.
That's the best. We were talking in between. That's the best I've seen him all year. Presence was there. Changed. He made some adjustments.
He did that. 2 good outings in a row. 5 1/3 tonight. A couple of runs on 5 hits, 3 walks, but 6 strikeouts.
So here we go. Top of the 7th, top of the order. Leury Garcia, Yohan Moncada, and Jose Abreu. Good play. He'll take it himself. 1 pitch, 1 out. Leury now 1 for 4 with a run scored. Moncada has walked 2 times last night. Also homered last evening, and he's popped up to left and gone out to center.
Mike Pelfrey starting to loosen up. We saw him for an inning and 2/3 last night.
Yeah, Mike came in last night, struck out Gallo, struck out Odor, gave up 1 hit. And RBI Baseball 2017 is out now for Xbox One, PS4, iOS, and Android. It's packed with all your favorite MLB teams, players, ballparks, and much more. So your breakout MLB season is here. You better come ready to play. Learn more at rbigame.com. That ball hit deep. Stretch. Nope. Right up against the fence goes Gallo. Made a catch. And that'll do it. 7th inning stretch. We lead it by 1.
Inning. It's a 3-2 Sox lead. They've out-hit Texas 6-5. The Rangers have the only air of the game. It's going to be the bottom 3 to face Aaron Bummer. Napoli, Odor, and Chirinos. If anybody gets on to Shields, lurking in the number 1 spot in the batting order. Aaron came on, got the big double play ground ball off the bat of Joey Gallo, and out of the 6th inning with the lead, James Shields, the pitcher of record. And Nicky Delmonico, one of the game. His 2-run homer coming last inning gave the Sox the lead. So Mike Napoli, who's got a 2-run homer of his own, that coming in the 4th inning. He's going to step in. Hit his 25th home run. Batting average not where he would like it. But the production, not bad.
No, 25 and 74 is not bad. That's a hard 195.
It is that.
But as we talked about so many times, not for every player, but for most players, batting average is the least important stat in baseball.
No, Napoli's not a table setter. He's the guy who's going to drive them in.
That's exactly right. And it didn't happen today in the game. Managers used to tell you as a player what they wanted you to do. And I'll give you an example. When I got traded from Boston to Cleveland, Cleveland was the biggest ballpark in baseball at that time. So when I joined the club, Alvin Dark was the manager. He said, Kenneth, he said, I don't care what you hit, but you got to hit me 20 home runs and you got to drive in 75 runs in this ballpark. They used to tell you what they wanted you to do.
Not an easy thing to do in that part.
Yeah.
Because that was a huge playing surface.
They would tell you they don't do that today.
So one manager that I have heard using that type of terminology to a guy when he put him in a different spot in the batting order, that was A.J. Hinch with Carlos Correa. Last year, he moved him into a spot where he needed to drive in runs. And he says, I'm putting you in this spot for you to drive in runs, and I don't care what your batting average is. And then he drew a plate. And he took a bat, he drew a plate, took Carlos there, and he said, and he put a line on either side of the plate, making it now a 21-inch plate instead of 17. And he goes, you're going to have to swing at those pitches out of the zone if you're going to be a prolific run producer. And I don't care what you hit. I just want you to drive in 100 runs. And he told him he was going to put him in the spot. He took the pressure off him by saying, this is on me if you don't hit the kind of average you would like. But you have to be my run producer. That was when the team had a different configuration.
See, I love that. I love it when a manager.
Yeah.
You know what it does? It gives the player a feeling of less pressure.
Oh, there's much less pressure. A manager tells you, I don't care what the batting average is.
Exactly. But meanwhile, we got the dreaded leadoff walk here in a one-run ball game. 3-6-0 for us, 2-5-1 for them. And here is Rougned Odor, strikeout and a ground out to first as he takes first pitch strike. Yeah, I think I told you that story about Socia a couple of years ago with about Chris Sale. Josh Hamilton was struggling a little bit, so Chris was pitching against the Angels, and after the game, I went in to say goodbye to Socia, and we were talking about handling certain players, and he said, Hawk, I called Josh Hamilton in before the game, and I told him, I said, Josh, I said, do you realize that not a left-handed hitter in this league has gotten a base hit off Chris Sale yet?
Yeah, I remember that. And he wound up with two of them.
He wound up with two hits that night.
Yeah.
That's managing.
Well, you challenge a guy with a lot of pride, and he will respond. That high fastball takes down Odor.
That's one out. Second time he has struck out.
Throws a high fastball by him, and likely to be the last pitch that Aaron is going to throw. So Odor down on strikes. Takes the baseball, tells him he did a good job, and as he walks out, so will we. Mike Pelfrey. He's on for the 24th time. He's on for the 5th time out of the bullpen. There you see the numbers. And the one thing that Rick Renteria is pretty well assured of when he brings Mike Pelfrey into the game is he will get the ball over the plate.
I personally love Mike Pelfrey in this role.
Well,
because of that reason.
Yeah, he'll get the ball over, and you have to. The only thing you're concerned about is durability, as far as can he pitch multiple days in a row after being a starting pitcher his whole career. And this is a test because it's 2 nights in a row.
I love guys who come out of that bullpen and throw strikes.
Napoli has not successfully stolen a base. He's 0 for 1.
Chirinos has lined hard. Moncada with a beautiful jump and catch on a line drive, and he also has struck out. First pitch strike up, got a break.
Did indeed.
That one just off the outside corner.
Gregory Infante starting to loosen up.
Chops that one foul. So the count 1-2.
Young ladies with a souvenir. Great night to be at the ballpark.
Time is called.
One of the things I believe that Mike doesn't have to worry about is Napoli stealing.
Well, he might be just trying to still get loose.
You never know.
No, that's right. You've seen guys do that. They don't feel quite right, and they'll just make a few throws over them.
Lots of time comes from the manager. If the bullpen is up and going, they'll want you to throw 3 or 4 times over to first base.
That's going to hold Napoli at third on the double. So Ducks on the pond, 1 out.
Chirinos gets a hold of one, and unfortunately he is able to keep it between the lines. This one was hooking into the corner. However, it was fair by about 6-8 feet.
That ball flattened out. When he hit it, I thought it was definitely going to be foul.
Now we got the tying go-ahead run in scoring position, and well, kind of looking over in the dugout to see if they want him to play close or they want him farther back.
So now a meeting of the mind at the mound. That'll bring up the leadoff hitter, Delano DeShields, who was 3 for 8 against Pelfrey. And all 3 hits have gone for doubles. And here comes Ricky.
Well, Mike Pelfrey's not a man that is going to get a whole lot of strikeouts for you. Infante is one of those guys that is more than capable of striking out some people, and I guess Ricky's going to go with the guy who he believes can get an out without contact, and that is Gregory Infante. So Pelfrey will step out, Infante will come in, and will step out with him. He's on for the 33rd time. He's 0-1. His ERA at 4.5. Almost a strikeout per innings pitched. And you see high batting average against at 295. So he inherits Rangers at second and third with 1 out here in the 7th, protecting a 1-run lead. Winston-Salem, the dash, winning 14-6. Sebi Zavala, 2 for 4. That's a catcher in the system who's having a good offensive year. And the other guy went 3 for 4.
So here's DeShields. Ducks on the pine. First pitch strike.
They're in at the corners thinking that DeShields, who is an accomplished bunter, might be thinking about laying one down, but no evidence of it with the first pitch.
He is 1 for 2 with a double back in the first inning, leading off the Rangers right down the third baseline. And very quickly Infante jumps on top, nothing in 2. Well, that's going to get the game tied. So the walk comes around to score. We saw enough of that last night.
Yeah,
we did not see that game last night. We walked 9 guys. 4 of them scored, and we got beat 9-8.
Now you got the go-ahead run 90 feet away. And one of their, well, if not a huge run producer, one of the guys that can hit with a chance to untie it.
Chu, smart hitter. Chu has a sacrifice bunt, a single. Then he lined it hard into a 5-3 double play where Yolmer Sanchez made a beautiful timing jump and doubled somebody off at first. That somebody was DeShields. And the reason I brought up Chu being smart in situations like this, where you're in the bottom of the 7th, the game is tied at 3, there are 2 out, you got a man at 3rd. Chu knows that the good chance that that ball is going to still be up. There's a good chance of it.
Yep. The last thing you want is to bury a breaking ball.
That's exactly
see
right.
the go-ahead run score.
That he did it. He buried it, but he was caught, and a check swing strikeout. He gone, and we're into the 8th, tied at 3.
eClick.com. eClick is located in Chicagoland and rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. eClick Lending. Boom! Your mortgage just happened. And we got a new Ranger pitcher in the ball game. And it is Ricky Rodriguez. On for the 3rd time. Hasn't given up anything. And he's got a tie game, so he quickly becomes a pitcher of record. As does Gregory Infante. And one of the heroes of the game tonight is going to lead it off, Nicky Delmonico.
Nicky a walk, his first at bat, went out deep to left, his second at bat, and then a line shot 2-run homer back in the 6th inning. Staying here, he's back, he looks up, and it's off the wall. and he is down. This might be an inside to Parker. Yes, it is going to be, and the Sox lead it 4-3. Yes, yes.
And now they're going to have to take a look at Mazzara in right field. He hit the wall hard and stayed down, and he's shaken up. Nicky didn't take a long time to hit his 5th home run. He's now driven in 11 on his 2nd home run of the night. And the Rangers holding their breath, because if the man in right field is hurt, it takes a huge run producer out of their lineup.
The biggest one they've got. Biggest one they've got by far.
So Mazzara goes back to the wall. This one hits off the top of the wall, just misses going out of the park. And he bangs into the wall, and to be determined yet exactly what happened to him. But the carom brought it back toward the infield, and Nicky Delmonico is off to the races. Odor having to hustle. He gets to the ball and cannot get it back in time, although he makes a nice throw to the plate.
Makes a great effort there.
He really does. It turns out too little too late, as they're still taking a look at Mazzara in right field.
So he's up. That's a good sign.
That's a very happy young man.
I was saying earlier, seems like he has got that kind of personality. It's infectious. It looks like he loves to smile. And of course, when you hit 2 home runs, you got a reason to smile.
You're not kidding. Hit 2 home runs, your batting average is in the high 380s. And looked like maybe his foot got trapped as he hit the wall. His foot might have gotten trapped underneath that padded area.
Or else he landed on that knee. Now he's that foot.
So Nicky takes off. And now he sees the ball carrying back toward the infield. And now he really turns it on. Because with the play behind him, you got to pick up Nick Capra. And Nick is telling him to keep on going. Looked like Nicky might have been close to running out of gas, but he had enough.
That's a long way. Ooh.
I get a feeling, I might be wrong, that that's not 13.85 seconds.
You think?
Looks like it's anywhere from 18 to 19 seconds around the bases for Nicky Delmonico, but he certainly is a very happy young man.
And we're all happy that Nomar Mazzara is going to stay in this ball game. He is not injured.
Well,
You hate to see any player get injured.
Still talking with the trainer, and now Jeff Bannister comes back to join the conversation again. They are a little short on outfielders here in Texas. He's going to stay in the game.
That's good news.
Especially for them, in that he's due up 3rd in the 8th inning. Well, with the 2nd multi-homer game in the last 3, he is certainly taking advantage of this monumental opportunity. He's talking about the fact that when he saw the go-ahead from Nick Capra, he was pretty close to gassed.
So here's Sanchez. Elmer takes first pitch strike. That's sucked up by future Hall of Famer And that's out number 1. Well, you're talking about a long way. You're talking about probably, with the cuts and everything, you're probably talking about 135, 140 yards.
And not straight.
That's what I'm talking about.
You're having to do everything.
It's 120 with straight line, but you're not running a straight line. So here's Narvaez. He's 0 for 2 with a walk. Four 7-0 for us, 3-6-1 for them here in the top of the 8th inning. If you're just getting home and tuning in, and that's back off the side of the mezzanine section. Outfield well around to the left. Huge gap out there in right center. That's up high. If you just don't as we scored 1 in the first. Napoli had a 2-run homer in the 4th. Delmonico had a 2-run homer in the 6th. They tied it in the 7th. And now the inside to Parker by Mickey. One thing about our club that just we keep talking about it because it is really fun to watch. We're losing a lot of ball games, but these guys busted. They do not quit. They do not give up. And now when we get some of these young kids with 1,000 at bats, and you get some of them with a couple hundred innings under their belt in 2 or 3 years, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, what Rick is doing is he's laying the foundation for when the players who are still here, and that remains to be seen, but the players who are still here can impart on the players who are going to be here how White Sox baseball is to be played as we move forward. As this team gets to be good, Rick's laying the foundation for guys who are not here now to buy into this system.
Watch out. Anderson, you on deck. You got to be careful. Well, the players have already bought into it. The fans have bought into it. You bought into it. I bought
Absolutely.
into it. The front office has bought into it. Fastball at 96.
Rodriguez missed a whole year at Tommy John surgery in 2015. Missed all of last year rehabbing, and still the velocity is there.
And there's a base hit. 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Just slaps it out there. So 1 on, 1 out, 1 in. And Sox fans, StubHub is your ticket to once-in-a-lifetime experiences, from White Sox games to amazing concerts and shows you don't want to miss. StubHub, your ticket out. StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of our White Sox. Here's Anderson. He's 2 for 3. Big gap in left center. Takes that fastball, change up, I should say, at 86.
Had a hanger that time, but swung through it.
That one at 81. Oh, and 2. Breaking ball. 79. Come on, Tim. Good two-strike hitter. Let's don't stop. Let's put some more points on that board.
Beltre makes a friend. And yeah, he's gonna be able to start his
Johnny Bench.
Gonna be able to start his own league soon.
That's a great commercial with Bench. He pulls the bananas up. He said, "I don't do that anymore." Also, here come the bananas. Oh, that's trouble. That is big trouble. Good effort by Beltre. Meanwhile, a base hit.
That's 3 of them for Tim tonight. Beltre does everything he can possibly do, but not with the speed of Anderson. He can't get it there in time.
Well, there's 2 great underneath throwers in this league. I don't know about the National League, but in this league, one of them is Beltre and the other is Robinson Cano. They can get some real mustard on it from underneath.
And both very accurate. So Brocail out to talk with Rodriguez. And 3 members of the infield not joining in on the conversation. So Will Little breaks it up. And a chance for Alan Hansen to do some damage.
Yeah. David Novak. Mike Mazza and his crew. Rob Boaz. Lindsey Jordan. Good pick to click tonight.
Martinez and Leclerc loosening in the pen.
Byron Buxton a single short of the cycle, but he's hitting 7th and bottom of the 8th. Minnesota with a big lead. Fouls that one down. Well, we've talked about it when we play the Twins. Not many guys got more talent than Byron Buxton.
No, and he's been that way, well, for a long time. He's #1 prospect in all of baseball. He's had some strange injuries, though, that have curtailed his progress to this point. If he could stay healthy for any length of time, he got all the talent in the world.
Lays off that one. He did not go. We might have caught a little bit of a break there.
Deal to Mark Wegner, who says no. And the umpires in the stands certainly wanted that one.
From up here, I thought he went, but close.
Yeah, you can flip a coin and it went Allen's way.
Yanks that one foul.
Manny Machado hit 3 home runs tonight. The last of which was a walk-off grand slam.
Geez, baseball is so well positioned going forward to some
They got some great young stars.
Oh man.
And Machado is one of them.
And the White Sox have got a ton of prospects, not suspects, prospects, and they're coming. With some of that talent.
Machado drove in 7 runs tonight.
That's in the gap. He gets here. Dadgummit. Hung up just long enough for DeShields to make his second really good catch tonight. Boy, he covered that ground. He closed it in a hurry.
Yeah, he's got a long way to go here for a guy who is an infielder by trade. Speed is everything as he runs it down in the gap. And fortunately, the inning stays alive as nobody gets doubled up.
Wow. He saved them tonight. 4 runs.
Yeah, that gets by, and it's 2 rather easily. But it didn't, and it wasn't.
So here's Adam Engel. Engel was robbed of a base hit on a beautiful play by DeShields in the 6th inning with the bases loaded. With a little looper out there, he came on, committed to it, stayed with it, and made a beautiful catch. And that is a can of corn. But we get on the board inside the park home run by Nicky Delmonico, and we lead it by 1.
And Gregory Infante, who came on last inning, is there to protect it. Got to deal with the middle of the order.
So here's Elvis Andrus, Beltre on deck, and Mazzara in the hole. Gap in left center. Close pitch, didn't get it. Andrus 0 for 3 tonight. There's a strike. Second of this 4-game set.
And the Sox bullpen up and going.
Game 3. Tomorrow, a game over WGN. It'll be Derek Holland against his former mates, against Martin Perez. Checks it up. And a nice little easy, soft 1 out.
You just love that when you're on the mound and you got a guy you know is a tough hitter. Has an excuse me swing, and fortunately it just trickles back to you. Thank you. Appreciate that. And come again tomorrow night.
That probably angers the hitter more than any other situation.
Yeah, you leave the bat and the contact is straightforward.
I'd like to have a dozen golf balls for every time I did that, especially on a guy with a good changeup. You don't do that very often on a fastball.
No.
Beltre is lined out hard. Good catch by Hansen in right field. Struck out. And then he singled sharply back through the middle. But in the finale here on Sunday, it'll be Miguel Gonzalez, who really has been pitching a lot better than those numbers show, against right-hander A.J. Griffin.
A.J. Griffin is back healthy and really giving this team a lift because they had some issues in the starting rotation. Griffin, who came up originally with Oakland, now back and healthy and thrown it just about as well as anybody in this rotation.
And that Sunday game will be right back here on CSN Chicago. High into right field. Tell you one thing about Alan Hansen, he is making some adjustments, an infielder, and he's starting to look a little comfortable out there in the outfield.
Well, he has the one irreplaceable attribute, and that's speed. He's got very good speed, and you know, it's not a natural conversion to go from the infield to the outfield. The guys who can do it become much more valuable.
Well, you framed it earlier perfectly. He's got some skills.
He does that. Question is harnessing all of them.
Mazzara walked twice, singled, and scored.
You said you used to hit off that raised front foot. Nomar does the same thing. What does that do for you? Because he also, on his right foot, it comes off the ground, although he's still making contact with it. There you see the raised front toe.
It gives you the opportunity to get more hang time. That ball hit in the right center field. Angle is there. So once again, Infante, I tell you, Infante is impressing some people.
He's got the stuff. Miller Time brought to you by Miller Lite, and here's our Miller moments, and it's side by side. 2 inside the park home runs. Byron Buxton, Nicky Delmonico. They're both very effective, and they both featured caroms off the wall, and one is just a touch quicker than the other. I wonder who that might be. Both head first slides, both inside the park home runs. 16 seconds for Nicky Delmonico, 13.85 for Byron Buxton.
And here is Monsieur Jose Leclerc, Jean Trudel La Salle class. Enters the game.
Sox looking for just a touch of insurance. It's a precarious 1-run lead.
Leary out in front, yanks it. He singled and scored back in the first inning. He's 1 for 4. 3 for 9 in the series. Whoops.
That's a good straight change right there.
Had him way out there in front.
That's a dandy, and never having seen it, Garcia well out in front.
1 out.
Backs up a straight change with a good slider, and Leary is down on strikes.
Here's Joan, a walk, pop up to left, fly out to center, and a strikeout. Takes a strike. That is high. The line of the Shields. Boy, he's been their big man tonight as far as saving runs. Wow. 2 down.
In a similar situation last time up, it came in the 7th inning. Only thing on the mind of Jose was hitting the ball out of the ballpark, which he almost did. Long fly ball that was just short as Gallo went back to make the catch in front of the wall. He's in a similar situation here.
2 for 4 with a run scored. For their guys in the bottom of the 9th, it'll be Gallo, Napoli, and Odor. And between the 3 of them, they have a cum total of 84 home runs. Two out, 1-1 to count. That ball hit right at him. Stays with it. Makes a little adjustment right there. Makes what turned out to be a pretty good catch. Meanwhile, bottom of the 9th. They got a lot of thunder coming to that dish.
FC. Coverage begins at 6:30 with Chicago Fire pregame on CSN, and you can catch a Spanish broadcast of the game on CSN Plus. Juan Minaya comes in the ballgame to try to nail it down. On for the 25th time. There you look at the numbers. 38 strikeouts in 29 innings. That is good. Left-handers haven't done much with him. But he's got to face a couple of prolific home run hitters, 1 and 2, here in the ninth.
Well, there won't be many fannies leaving their seats with these three guys coming up. Gallo, Napoli, and Odor. Joey is 0 for 3 tonight. Outfield fairly deep. And spread out. And now Gallo has the catbird seat. 2-0. I just don't see any more walks.
Especially leadoff walks with a run lead.
There's one. Four runs on 9 hits, no errors for us. 3 runs on 6 hits, 1 error for them. We have stranded 8. They have stranded 5. Both teams have made a couple good defensive plays, but DeShields has been the man for the Rangers.
He's done a really nice job in center field, going alley to alley.
Yeah, and in.
Been a good night for him defensively.
A little looper by Adam Engel with the bases loaded and 2 out. All right, here's Napoli.
Good man for 2 if you can throw the ground ball. Grounded into 11 double plays this year.
He is 1 for 2. A long 2-run homer back in the 4th inning. There's ball 1. And here comes the Brady. There's a strike. You know, this is where Brady really has a chance to become that leader that he so desires. For an example, you look on right now, of the 9 players we have out there, 7 of them are Latin. And a count, 2-1. And a lot of those young future stars that Kenny and Rick have traded for are also Latin. He did not go. But he's got the catbird seat at 3-1. So it was 2-0 to Gallo. Now 3-1 to Napoli.
Well, he helped him out there because that's ball 4 with the winning run on base. But he expands his zone.
Yeah, exactly right. He did. But also from Napoli's standpoint,
he wants a fastball to hit it out.
That's exactly. And it doesn't have to be a strike. It doesn't have to be a strike. But in this case, we got a break because he did.
Ooh,
ball
boy.
4. There he goes. And because he was moving, the no play is averted. Meanwhile, there's 1 out. Good move. Good move by Madison.
Yeah, especially with a guy that has been known to strike out a time or two.
Gallo can run a little bit. He's 6 for 6 in stolen bases.
And Napoli with 136 strikeouts this year. So it wasn't exactly a lock that he was going to make contact, but he kept him out of the double play.
So here's Odor. A strikeout, a ground out to first, and another strikeout. 0 for 3.
And here comes Don Cooper.
Coop, one of the best in the business. And he's got the numbers to bear it out. And that guy right there is going to wind up being one of the best in the business. Abreu back on the grass. Moncada back on the grass. Anderson. Yeah, there's ball 1. There's ball 2. Robinson, Chirinos on deck. High pop up. Anderson. And 2 down.
Well, he got the fastball he was looking for, but
he just missed it.
It was right down the middle. Fortunately, hit it straight up in the air.
He had that one barreled up.
Yeah, that's what you're looking for. You're looking for that fastball in the 2-0 count, and unfortunately for Odor, goes straight up in the air.
So here's Chirinos. He's 1 for 3 at double. Their first pitch strike.
There's a break too, as Chirinos, being a catcher himself, pretty good idea when one hooks around the plate.
We got to break his last bat when he doubled. The first pitch was high. 1-1. Bit of a gap out there in left center. In fact, there's a good gap out there in left center. Engel short out there in center field. And the count goes to 1-2. Close. Two out, and the 2-2 pitch. He gone, and this ball game is over.
That's save number 1 in the major league career of Juan Minaya.
And he did it coming from behind in the count.
And he gets it with a high fastball. And he nails down the win. A hard fought come from behind win. And a great night for Nicky Delmonico.
And a great night also for James Shields.
Yes, he did. James threw it very well. Got a no decision for his efforts, but it didn't diminish what he had going for him tonight. So we'll take a look at the 3 outs in the 9th inning after the leadoff walk. Napoli with a ground ball, but Gallo was running, so it's not a double play, putting the tying run at second with only 1 out.